was heavily recruited by Democrats to run for the U.S. Senate in Ohio, only to be pressured out of the race. He's now a board member of the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America Political Action Committee. And Van Taylor is the only Republican among a handful of Iraq war veterans running for Congress. He's trying to unseat 8-term incumbent Congressman Chet Edwards in the district that's home to President Bush's Crawford Ranch. Let me start with you, Mr. Taylor. Thank you very much for joining us. Do you think we're right to be in Iraq?
We need to stay in Iraq until we get the job done there. We have got to defeat al-Qaeda terrorists that are trying to take over the country of Iraq and use it as a launching pad to conduct terrorist attacks in the region and possibly even on the United States.
And where did al-Qaeda come from?
Al-Qaeda is an amorphous organization.
No, the people that are fighting, you say are threatening us in Iraq, where did they come from?
Al-Qaeda made a conscious tactical decision to do battle with the United States in Iraq, and we have responded and fought them there. We need to fight them there, because if we don't fight them there, we're going to have to fight them here.
So they came in since we went in?
Well, there's no question. I mean, they made a decision in the summer of 2003 to come into Iraq and launch an attack against the United States forces.
So there wouldn't have been Iraq, and there wouldn't have been an al-Qaeda component of the size. There wouldn't have been that threat if we hadn't gone in the first place.
Well, al-Qaeda would choose to do battle with us somewhere else, possibly in Europe or even in the United States. So clearly, fighting in Iraq meant that they didn't fight us somewhere else. So the people that are killing 3,000 people a month in Iraq are al-Qaeda, you're saying? All the death we're seeing on television is caused by al-Qaeda. That's against all the reporting we're getting. That's why I'm raising this, sir. I don't get any reporting saying those people are being killed by al-Qaeda. 3,100 people a day are getting killed in that war between the Shia and the Sunni. And I just wonder why you keep bringing in al-Qaeda, which is, by every estimate of every military man, is an isolated 5% maybe of the action over there. Okay. We need to be in Iraq because of al-Qaeda, and we cannot leave Iraq until al-Qaeda is eradicated from that country.
Well, those are talking points. Where do they fit into the fact that 3,000 a month are being killed over there? Who's killing those people that we're watching on television every night? Is that al-Qaeda doing that?
Al-Qaeda is trying to foment a civil war in Iraq, and we need to stop them from doing that. We need to make sure that Iraq is a stable
what percentage of the people being killed over there are being killed by al-Qaeda, as you say? Every day on the headlines. Who's doing all that killing?
You're asking two different questions.
No, I'm asking one question, sir. What is the role of al-Qaeda? You brought it up. What's al-Qaeda's role in Iraq? I'm just asking.
Al-Qaeda is trying to foment an insurgency in Iraq, and we have got to stop them from creating that insurgency. We have got to secure our country against terrorists, and they are attacking us right now. U.S. forces are risking their lives fighting al-Qaeda terrorists that seek to destroy our country and our way of life. We've got to do whatever it takes to finish the job in Iraq and make sure that we give a secure country to our children.
Okay, same set of questions to you, Mr. Hackett. First of all, the first question is, should we be in Iraq?
No. The war is over. Every single military goal that can be accomplished with the U.S. military has been accomplished.
Okay, what are we watching on television? Same question I did to Mr. Taylor. What are we watching on television every night and picking up our newspapers and seeing the blood on the newspapers of 3,000 people a month getting killed over there?
Is chaos, pandemonium, civil war. This is not something that's going to happen in the future if we leave, because we are going to leave. It's something that is happening every single day in Iraq, because this administration has mismanaged this war, has mismanaged the military, has redirected the military, has ignored the advice of the military leaders, and has made America the laughingstock of the world. They have depleted our prestige. They have depleted our strength as a country. And frankly, Mr. Taylor is an apologist for this failed mission, lack of policy, lack of strategy, lack of goal-oriented mission accomplishment. There is no goal. There is no strategy. There is no plan. This administration is floundering on the world stage, and you and I are paying the price for it.
Well, let me ask Mr. Taylor to take all the time he needs to give you an answer to that.
We need to send people to Washington that understand the war on terror. There was a time in our country with many members of Congress who served as
a strategy.
You interrupt me in the past. You're not going to interrupt me here.
Let him finish, please.
We have got to win. We have got to win the war on terror. Al-Qaeda is a vicious terrorist organization. They are seeking to destroy our way of life. They have come to this country. They have attacked us. They're attacking U.S. forces in Iraq. They've attacked U.S. forces around the world. They've got to be dealt with. You cannot put your head in the sand.
Strategy?
Okay, let me ask you the question. Mr. Taylor, the President of the United States held a press conference yesterday, and he was asked, what role did Iraq play in the Al-Qaeda attack on us on 9/11? He said nothing. No role. You say something different, it sounds like.
Today
no, he
in
said
Iraq,
they had nothing. He said,
Al-Qaeda.
No, he said they had nothing. Do you agree with that? with the president? Did they have nothing to do with the attack on 9/11?
They had no direct involvement in the.
Well, what do you mean no direct?
The
president said no connection. What connection do you draw?
As far as I know, I do not believe they have any direct involvement with the attack on 9/11.
So why did we attack Iraq then? Why did we attack Iraq then?
Regardless of why we may have started.
I'm asking the question. Why did we attack Iraq? Why did we go into Iraq?
That's not the question that we need to ask ourselves. What do we do now?
What's wrong with me asking the question? We're in a war. Pearl Harbor started World War II.
That's a question.
You know, what started? Why did we go into Iraq?
That is a question you can ask historians. But today, we need to send people to Washington who understand the war on terror. There is not a single member of the United States Congress that has served in the war on terror, and there are only 24 combat veterans. I will be the very first. We need to send people like you to Washington.
If I may interject, Chris, Van obviously doesn't understand the war on terror. Where's Osama bin Laden? Where's the 6'2", white robe-dressed, left-handed Arab who's walking around in Pakistan or Afghanistan? That was the war against those who attacked us on our soil. War on terror? I mean, that's a ridiculous soundbite. Terror, as you know, Van, is a military strategy. It's not a philosophy. You're not going to defeat a strategy. You're going to defeat a philosophy. And if you want to defeat it, you have to address what compels those people to sacrifice their lives and kill innocent women and children.
Full answer now. Take all your time. We have 90 seconds, please. Go ahead, Mr. Taylor.
We need to grind down this insurgency. We need to destroy Al-Qaeda wherever they may be. We need to support our troops. We need to support our troops. And if you take, for instance, the incumbent I'm running against here in Texas, he actually did not support our troops. He took thousands of dollars of campaign contributions to help crooked insurance agents rip off thousands.
Yeah, but Van, you've taken thousands of dollars worth of campaign contributions from Dick Cheney, from Exxon Oil, the $5 million worth of stock that you inherited. Come on, Van. Be honest.
Well, let me ask you about, you guys are getting personal here. Look, I just want to ask you, Mr. Taylor, because you got a chance to respond here, and you got a little time here. It seems to me that 60% of the people in Iraq are Shia. We're learning all this as we go along, and even the fighting men are learning this, and women. 60% are Shia, about 27% are Sunni. The Sunni insurgents don't like being ruled by the 60%. They've been fighting us. We call them insurgents. The majority include people like militia people who are al-Sadr and people like that, who are pretty dangerous characters who are also fighting back and forth. Where does al-Qaeda fit into this?
Al-Qaeda is there in Iraq today seeking to kill Americans. And look, I would rather put my body armor back on, kiss my 2 children and my wife in Central Texas goodbye, and go fight in Iraq rather than have to fight Al-Qaeda in the United States. They choose to do battle with us in Iraq. We need to fight them there.
That is a false choice, and it's silly, and it's ridiculous to even imply that. Al-Qaeda represents a small faction of the people who are fighting there. Yeah. They came there because we are there. We rocked the boat there. At this point, this administration has no strategy to fix the problem.
Okay,
and I can tell you this, we can paint all the schools we want to paint, and it's not going to fix the problem. Sorry, Chris.
Mr. Hackett, you're very passionate and vigilant on this issue. It's too bad you're not the candidate up there. It looks like the candidate's way ahead in the polls. Is this bugging you that Sherrod Brown's got the nomination and not you?
Absolutely not. Send money to Sherrod Brown. He's a hell of a guy, and we hope he's our next senator from Ohio.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for joining. Van Taylor, thank you,
Chris.
And thank you down in Texas. You're racing against the incumbent Chet Edwards, right? And Paul Hackett, you're not running.
Absolutely not. I am running Hackett Law Offices. If you need a good lawyer, call me.
Okay, thank you, sir.
And if you want to support an Iraq veteran running for Congress, VanTaylor.com.
I think we heard it. Thank you, sir, for joining us. President Bush says Connecticut Republicans told him